Hello everybody, welcome to this week's video or podcast wherever you're listening. Thank you for being here. I'm really excited about this week's video because, I've just moved into my dream home and like a home that really opens my heart. And I shared a tiny little bit on Instagram the other day and I've had so many questions about how I did it. Which is relatively new, right? So I had so many questions about how I did it and how I made this happen. I thought I'd record a video on it, especially because some people, manifestation is something that I used to roll my eyes at, and so many other people do roll their eyes at. And mainly because we don't believe in it, but another because we believe that it's outside of ourselves, and so sometimes we're scared to try anything new. We're scared to believe in something that we're not taught from a very young age. So we're not taught how to manifest our dream lives in school. We're taught that life is hard. So our programming most of the time is that life is hard, you have to work hard to get what you want, and magic isn't real. So I'm going to go, how this video is going to work is, it's going to be slightly different to my others, but we are going to cover some truths about manifestation, some of the science behind manifestation, and my story of how I manifested this home that I'm now living in, and how you can, trying to make it brief, digestible, so that you can start taking this into your own life and change your life. So here's what I know to be true about manifestation. It is not rocket science. It is not woo-woo. It is not something, a ritual, crystals that you do outside of yourself. It can be that, but it's not in this instance. Manifestation is who you are. It is life. You are manifesting in every breath, with every thought, with every step that you take. If you take steps towards becoming a nurse, you're going to become a nurse. If you take steps towards becoming a drug addict, you're going to become a drug addict. Two quite polar opposites there, but just like it is just life. You are manifesting who you are, who you believe you are, and what you believe about the world. If you believe that the world is difficult and hard and you have to struggle, that is what your reality is going to look like. Because that's what you'll take steps towards. You'll take steps towards preventing and fear and living in fear. But if you live with trust and an open heart, lead from love, then your reality is going to be very different from the person who is living in fear. And we are all programmed from a very young age to live in fear, to protect ourselves. That is how the human race has evolved. We would not have evolved without our ego that has been programmed to keep us safe. So let's get into some truths. Now I'm going to refer to my notes because I've created notes to keep it brief. We'll see. I have a tendency to go off on a tangent. But let's start with, your mind is creating your reality. Your perception of life, of who you are, is creating your reality. You attract what you believe deep, deep down in your subconscious mind, not what you want. So you don't always get what you want consciously, but you always get that deep burning desire of the subconscious mind. So that could be to keep you safe, or it could be to help you thrive. This is where reprogramming your subconscious beliefs comes into play, but not before some other deep inner work, which I will get into. What you believe about your reality makes up your persona. You build a persona, a personality, based on what you believe about the world, how you believe that you can be kept safe in this world. So that then creates your persona, which creates your personality, which creates how you think, act, feel, behave. So you attract who and what you believe yourself to be. Manifestation is not as simple as thinking positive and it is not magic or a ritual. It can be both of those things, and sometimes it needs to be both of those things. You can think, you need to change your thoughts. If you're constantly thinking life is shit, life is hard, life is difficult, that's what you're going to manifest. But if you keep thinking anything is possible, I am capable, I know deep down that this is inevitable, then that's what you're going to see. It may not happen overnight, and then you can bring ritual into it, you can bring magic into it, but magic is just a belief. Like, you can bring these things into it to help you make your life sacred, to have a little ceremony to yourself where you sit down and go, I'm going to journal on this. That can be a ritual. It's not like manifestation and the Instagram world of manifestation makes it seem so out there, so otherworldly, but it's not, and science has proven it, and that's what we're going to get into. So because your internal reality, your thoughts, beliefs, programs, patterns, habits, behaviors, whether they're conscious but mostly unconscious, and your mind is 95% unconscious in the subconscious, and that is what is controlling your life. If you're not happy with how your outside world looks, then you need to change your internal world. So you must become aware, shine a light on the unconscious beliefs, emotions, thoughts, habits. You must shine a light on this and make them conscious so that you can make new decisions. You can build new habits. You can re-qualify your thoughts and beliefs that you have about the world. And over time, these things will incrementally, you will change internally. You will change your DNA. You will change your internal programming. And so then you're going to begin to attract something much more in alignment with your soul. And once you're getting in touch with your soul and your true self, that's when your life begins to shift externally. It is not about building this deep inner work. It's not about building a new personality. It's not about going from being shy and unconfident to really loud and this is mine, this is who I am. It's not about a persona swap. It's about becoming more in touch with your soul, with your true self, because that is where you begin to attract your soul desires, rather than the things that you think you want, that you've probably been programmed to believe that you want. You know, like marriage, 2.5 kids, white picket fence, or 7 yachts and 500 houses throughout the world. Like, your soul knows what you want, and by shining a light on the unconscious, you begin to kind of clear away the dust, the dirt, the debris of your mind, and you become more in alignment, in flow, and things start to make way. Opportunities that open your heart arise, homes that open your heart arise. So it's about knowing your internal world, who you are in truth, and allowing that to shine through. That is the foundation for how you're manifesting your life. Some sciencey bits for you. Number one, we are energetic beings. We are not blobs of physical matter. We are energy, atoms, molecules, neurons flowing together to create something that appears as physical reality. And physical reality it only exists when it's perceived by consciousness, which is how this world, this incredible world, is possible. So we are made of energy. First, remember that. We are made of energy. You're not physical matter. 2, we have an electromagnetic field. Because we're energy, we create an electromagnetic field. We are radio transmitters and receivers, constantly giving out energetic signals, frequencies, and receiving a match for that. Emotions are forms of energy. How we feel about who we are and our lives make up our emotional and energetic state. These emotions carry frequencies which we attract a vibrational match for. This is how you attract experiences into your life. It does not mean that you have to feel positive all the time. If you ignore or repress negative emotions, they stay in your body. You must allow them to be and flow through your being. As you're doing all of this inner work and align with your soul, the true self, you flow into a natural state of being. You become aligned with how you're supposed to be naturally, aligned with love rather than fear, the fear of the ego or the love of the soul. Then your energetic state shifts. And this is when you become to vibrationally attract through your energetic frequency those experiences, things which you are a match for. Everything exists in the quantum field, in the collective unconscious. Everything exists as potential. All that potential is energy. So you are attracting energy in every given moment. It's a lot to take in and a lot to understand. It's taken me years of learning to understand and embody this. But stick with it, because once you understand it, you can begin to make your unconscious mind conscious, and then you are living a life that you can consciously create rather than just believing that everything is fate. Manifestation is not woo-woo. It is not rocket science. It is reality. It is life. It is who you are. So here are some practical ways that you can make internal shifts so that you can put this work into practice in your life. Number one, and I say this because it's the biggest and people avoid this, but shadow work. You need to shine a light on your unconscious self, on the parts of yourself that you have rejected, that you project onto the outside world that you don't want to experience on some level. A lot of this is unconscious, so give yourself a break. But you need to integrate your shadow. When you integrate your shadow, you become aligned with the soul, you become aligned with the true self. Meditation. Now, meditation has so many profound benefits. It helped save my life. It has helped my clients in so many profound ways, and not just in the physical, mental body, emotional body, but in the spiritual body as well. So meditation helps calm your mind. It calms your inner world. It gives more clarity to your inner world. Things start to fall into alignment when you can follow your breath. You get to know your inner self in a much deeper, more loving way, rather than constantly living in a kind of chaotic mess of thoughts, which is where most people are, because they're always trying to avoid the next problem. Think ahead so you avoid the next problem. Stay in the past so that you stay stuck in that problem, rather than being in the present. And in the present is where, in the present moment, you're in touch with the quantum field. You are in touch with infinite potential. So meditation has so many profound benefits. I recommend everybody has a silent meditation practice of at least 10 minutes a day where you're just following your breath. It doesn't matter if you have thoughts, because thoughts will come up. We're human. Our brains are thinking machines. It's what they're made to do. The thoughts will eventually calm down and you'll become less attached to them. And I also recommend following a guided meditation practice if you want to go deeper into something like visualization. So meditation and visualization are two different exercises. But visualization, when you're visualizing your dream, desire, the life that you want to live, the person that you want to become, when you're stepping into that in the mind, you're creating it in the mind first. So what you create in the mind becomes manifest in physical reality. So visualization helps your nervous system become used to this state that you're getting into, what you want to experience in your life. So if you're going to constantly worry that you're going to fail that exam or that you're not going to get that next client, that's what you're going to create. But if you're going to step into the person who gets that book deal, who speaks on that stage with confidence, then that is what you're going to achieve. Visualization is like getting to know your next step, your next stage of life before you before it manifests in your reality. And then you begin to it just becomes normal. It's not scary anymore. And so your ego doesn't need to try and protect you from it because it's wired in your subconscious. Journaling gives you clarity. It gets thoughts on paper. It helps you see reality for what it is. It helps you debunk stuff from your mind. It helps you in so many ways. Journal everything. Get it out of here, put it on here. You might laugh at it and go, that's ridiculous. You might go, that makes so much sense. And it almost gets rid of the filter. Gets rid of the filter of the stories, the thoughts, because you're writing it all down. So journaling is like getting your truth onto paper. Knowing your highest vision for life and working towards it. Taking inspired action. This helps you build confidence and trust in yourself. It helps you create that reality. Well, manifestation doesn't just happen because we think something and then it appears in our reality. We have to take steps towards it. And so taking those steps builds your confidence, builds your trust. And another internal shift to help specifically with manifestation, and I say manifestation because it's like, it's not outside of you, it is just life. To help with manifestation is releasing attachment to how life is going to happen. Releasing the worry, releasing the stress, letting go. Releasing attachment brings deep inner peace because you're not worrying, you're not stressed, you are just accepting life for what it is. We can change our thoughts, beliefs, patterns, habits. We can change who we are internally. We actually cannot control what happens externally. Yes, something might happen exactly as you visualize it, but it also might not. But whatever, it will be what your soul wants. It will be what your higher self wants for you. It may not necessarily be what your ego wants. And your ego becomes attached. The soul just knows. So I hope all of that's clear. If not, please leave comments and I will get back to you. But here is my story on how I manifested the home that I am living in so that you can see this in some kind of, see a living example of what is. So since I had cancer, I was diagnosed nearly 3 years ago, and I healed just over 2 years ago. So since having cancer, I have been on a very deep, profound inner journey, spiritual awakening, dark night of the soul. It has been a roller coaster. I have been doing really deep internal work to make my unconscious mind conscious, become one with my true self, step into the awakening, and step into the truth rather than trying to go back to the life that I had before, because that life has gone. And it was built on fear. So I have been through a very chaotic roller coaster in the last 3 years. In fact, since I turned 30, which is 3 years ago. Well, and then if you want to add a year or so before that, we had COVID. So, life completely changed in 2020. And in that time, I've probably moved house 6 times, but in the last 2 years, I've moved house 4 or 5 times. I have not known where to settle. I have lived by the seaside. I've lived in the city. My mum moved away for work, so I moved into her house. I have just moved all over. I've lived in Airbnbs. I've rented flats. I spent a very brief period with an ex-boyfriend, and it's just been a bit of a roller coaster. For the last year nearly, my stuff's been in storage. I've done some traveling. It's been a bit chaotic. You'll know this if you follow me on Instagram. It's like, oh, where's Rosanna today? So there was 2 main things. I wasn't clear on what I wanted, which is understandable because I was going through one hell of an awakening. So of course I didn't know what I wanted. But I also wasn't accepting where I was on some level. I wasn't accepting the reality that I needed to be stable in order to do some deep inner work and healing. So it was a bit like a pinball machine, internally and externally. Recently, I made the decision to accept where I was, to accept my life today, that I have created this, and on some level, I wanted to be back in my home camp. Thanks to retrograde or eclipse or something, the last part of this video didn't record. So here I am doing it again, hopefully more succinctly for you, because I did go off on a tangent. Basically, my life was chaotic and I was doing the deep inner work to bring myself back into alignment so that I could create the life that my soul really desired. So whilst my life was a bit chaotic internally, and I was doing a lot of this work, things had to fall away, things had to not go as I imagined or hoped, so that I could become closer to my truth. And really truly create what my soul desired. So that was all an inner alignment. So whilst I was out of alignment, I was creating out of alignment experiences, like the moving house however many times in the last few years. So I wasn't clear on what I wanted, and why would I be, because I'd just gone through an extremely life-changing thing, and it wasn't just cancer, it was business, it was relationships, it was my entire life. I wasn't clear on what I really wanted. I didn't make any clear decisions, and on some level I wasn't accepting the reality of where I was and what I needed. And you cannot create anything or call in anything until you accept where you are. So I had to accept where I was, and that's what I did. I knew the date that I had to be out of where I was living, and so I had to accept that. I had to make a decision that I was staying in my home county, that I was staying in Derbyshire, no more running away from home. I decided to come home to myself, and I could do that wherever I wanted in the world. It just so happened that right now I am here, so this is where I'm staying. In my morning visualizations, I would see myself living my dream life. I would feel how it felt to live my dream life. All aspects of it, how I would wake up, how I would work, how I would walk in nature. I would visualize everything, what I would do after work, where I was going on away that weekend, what I was doing. And so a big part of that, your life is basically based in your home. So I visualized my home and living from my home. I got clear on where I wanted to be externally, and I wouldn't settle for less. So I was given a few different options, and I knew that none of them were really truly a soul yes. So I said no, even though I didn't know what was going to happen. But I trusted the right thing was coming for me. And at the beginning of my search, I'd fallen in love with a place with a gorgeous bathroom floor. And I knew that that's where I wanted to live, and I had to jump through some hoops to kind of get a viewing. The estate agents wouldn't get back to me. So I was like, my ego was a bit scared. It was trying to put me off. There was resistance showing up through like tech issues, people not getting back to me, and somebody else put in an application. But I trusted that I fell in love with the second I stepped in here. It was a heart-opening yes. And so I knew that this is where I wanted to be, and everything I continued to trust. I let go of any attachment. I wasn't worried, because on some level deep down I knew that this was inevitable, that I was supposed to be here. That's coming from my soul, not my ego. The ego worries, the soul knows. And I moved in on the perfect day. I knew when I had to move out. I moved in. I was away that weekend. I moved in on the perfect day. It could not have happened in a more divine way. And this is the other huge example is my cancer journey. It was divine timing. Everything happened as it was supposed to. And that's what happened here. So manifestation isn't about being attached to an external goal. It's about creating a way of living, creating a life that you want to live. It's a lifestyle. It's not magic. It's not rocket science. It's not woo-woo. And the house isn't exactly what I visualized. I was visualizing like aesthetically something different, but energetically it feels a match. It is a heart-opening match. I feel the same here as I did in my visualizations. So whilst it doesn't look the same in my mind, it feels the same. And the soul knows. So the soul knew that this was right for me. The thinking mind doesn't. And years ago, I used to drive through this area like quite a lot. And it's beautiful. It's an estate. It's like got a huge like manor house here, gorgeous grounds. I knew that I wanted to live here years ago, and 5 or 6 years later, without even thinking about it, here I am. So I accepted my reality. I have been doing the inner work. I am a walking, talking example of doing the inner work, and I have come into alignment with my soul's desires, and so they are being presented to myself. I know that my life is inevitable because I am becoming my true self every single day, and I am so grateful that I get to help other people do this as well. Through these videos, through coaching, through meditation, whatever, this is it. It's becoming in touch with your soul and working towards it. I let go. I didn't become attached. I didn't worry because I had a deep inner knowing that this was meant for me. And I took inspired action and didn't give up when was faced with resistance. It is a magical combination, but it is the way to manifest. It is life. You don't need a ritual. You just need to become. You need to become who you were put on this planet to be. And then life begins to open up for you. Opportunities arise, synchronicities happen, and life happens for you. Well, life is always happening for you, but if you resist it, it becomes suffering. If you embrace it, it becomes a soul-aligned path. And if you don't like how your reality currently looks, then it's because in some way you're resisting, you're trying to stay safe in your comfort zone. Like we have self-imposed limitations. We are stuck in cages of our own making. We have the key to open the cage and we have to walk through it. So the key is, I'm telling you, the key is within you to create the life that you want. You have to take the key, open the door to your cage and walk through it. And so technology has stopped working for me. So I'm going to round the video up there, but I hope that this has helped you. If you're ready to change your reality, get to know who you are in truth and start manifesting a life aligned with your soul, creating a life that you are head over heels in love with, then I'm going to just outline some ways that you can work with me in the description. The first way is downloading the Your Most Empowered Self meditation, totally free, and a lovely way to wake up in the morning before you start work, raising your vibration so that you can begin to attract things that are aligned with your soul. Number 2 is joining the Lotus community, a beautiful community of kindred spirits and like-minded souls. Every Wednesday we come together, meditate, connect to our hearts, connect to our souls, and do the deep inner work together. And then if you're ready to go a step further into a more profound transformational process journey, then I invite you to explore a private coaching package with me. We do your shadow work together. We create your vision. We help you consciously create your life, breaking free of your unconscious cage, giving you the key to step out and create a life that you absolutely love waking up to. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's helped you. Please hit the thumbs up button if it has. Leave a comment if you have any questions or with any big insights and takeaways. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with all of my latest content, meditations, all the ways that I can help you here on YouTube or The Mandala Effect. I hope you have a beautiful day and I'll see you next week.